The millennial mortgage myth. The myth being the belief that a lot of millennials have that they can't qualify for a mortgage. Here to bust that myth is John Mallett, who's the author of Buy Your First Home Today. Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here today.
Now, the minute you mention the word mortgage, we think about 2008 and the bubble bursting and all of the trauma that we endured since then. So I gather you're not talking about irresponsible lending.
No, we're talking about responsible lending. You know, when the mortgage crisis came, it was trillions of dollars were lost. That was one of the tragedies.
Mm-hmm.
People lost their homes that were foreclosed on or short sale. And what the real tragedy was is that the children that were in those homes were uprooted. They had to move to apartments, they had to go to new schools, and now those people are millennials. And the one thing that they are hesitant about is buying homes.
So we're in need of an update.
Yeah.
Now, you know about this because, you've been in this business for 30 years, you own a company called
Main Street Mortgage.
And you've written a lot of mortgages, I gather.
Hundreds, over $1 billion.
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
Okay. Update us. What do we need to know now? Can more millennials, and for that matter anybody else, qualify for mortgages than think so?
Yeah, this is the perfect time to buy a home. It is easier right now to buy a home than it responsibly than it ever has been in the history of home ownership. Right now, you can go on conventional financing and you can have the entire down payment as a gift. That didn't used to be the case.
That's correct.
That's right. And so now there are many programs, many ways to go about doing it.
So if there are parents of millennials watching this that want to give their kids a down payment for a home,
Oh,
that's
no question about
absolutely
it.
viable
Yes,
now, right?
100%. In fact, we have kids that come in, or millennials, I shouldn't call them kids, but young adults who are getting married, and instead of having a big wedding, they say would rather have the money for the down payment.
What about people who think they can't qualify because they have student loans or because they've got some credit card debt?
Oh, that's a big myth. 40% of people who rent can qualify, but they don't know it.
Now, you came to this also for some deeply personal reasons, I gather, in terms of your own story growing up.
When I was 8 years old, my father walked out on his family. When I was 12 years old, my mother was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And when I was 18, she died. For the first 6 years, we moved 4 times. And the reason we moved 4 times is we were either evicted, my mother couldn't make the payment on the rent, or in one case, the landlord needed a place for her daughter to stay and live and asked us to leave. You know, so goes the idea of renting. What's really interesting about renting is that whether you're buying or you're renting, you're still buying a real estate.
Right.
You know, it's just that when you rent, you're buying it for somebody else.
Did I read correctly in your book that you can get into a mortgage with only 2 or 3% down? I really thought that was off by a zero.
Nope, 3% down. And see, that's a myth. There's so many people that think you got to have 20% down. In fact, a survey was done that showed that 30 to 40% still believe today that you got to have 20% down.
Or that you've got to qualify by yourself and you can't go into it with, a loan from your parents or other young
exactly.
people, whatever.
You can have co-signers. We just closed a loan with a co-signer. The parents were on the loan. They were glad to do it, help their children out.
So updated knowledge about all this is available in your book and by going to your website. Give us one parting shot, one thing everybody in America, whether they're a parent of a millennial, what should we all know?
You owe it to yourself to buy a home. People forget that rent goes up. But when you buy a home, your payment stays. And a lot of times your payment will be less than your rent.
All right, last word. The American dream has always been home ownership.
And
you
it
think
still
that's
is
still
today.
The case?
You bet. It still is today. I feel strongly to the core that home ownership is a sacred trust. If you treat it as a sacred trust, you'll make decisions which will give you a long-term view of what it takes to be financially stable.
So I gather that teaching people about this sacred trust is your sacred mission right now.
Yeah, it really is.
Thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.